Namaste everyone, welcome to our 29th annual World Yoga Festival and the 8th International Day of Yoga celebration. I'd like to invite Reverend Chris to do a prayer, starting prayer. Chris, flourish for you.
Beloved community, we're gathered in this morning, deeply understanding the more aspects of what human nature is, whether we're Hindi, whether we're Christian, whether we're Muslim, or whatever faith that we had grown in our family with, we grew. This has been a history on this earth where the families have united to understand the cosmic creator as our parent, as he has given us life, and that we can come together now at this time from being a broken root to really establish a true root and a true community. So let us exercise our mind and our heart and our soul, that we can become one truly great family. I thank you, and in all the words of all the prophets and all the saints, we say amen, namaste, shante.
Thank you, Reverend Chris, for your wonderful prayer. I'm happy you are able to join today and do the prayer. Now, I'd like to introduce my longtime friend, that is Yogi Shri André Riehl. He is the founder of the Nidrâ Yoga International, based in France. Today, he is going to share his journey to Nidrâ Yoga, his personal story, how he ended in the yogic path, how he went through it, and why he specialized in Yoga Nidrâ, and little practical part will be part of this celebration. He traveled around the globe with a full love and passion of promoting yoga. That's why I brought him to our program, because I like people, those who really live in yoga, to be a presenter in our event. We see a lot of gimmicks to promote themselves with marketing. We don't want to promote those things. We need real yogis. Here, without delay, I already put his bio on the chat box so people can read it. I'll put it on Facebook later. Without delay, I'd like to invite my brother Yogi André Riehl. Flourish for you.
Thank you, Dileepji. Thank you. Hari Om, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon for me meeting. I'm in south of France, and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon now. And at first, I had titled this talk, Silent Mind, Holy Life. And then I discovered that the title had been changed to Nidrâ Yoga. So I don't know what attracted you here. We'll have to talk about both topics. Just a few things about the spiritual quest. For most of us, we kind of claim being the one who is going into the spiritual quest. And after I can't remember now, more than 60 years anyway, of that quest, what became obvious was that the quest has never been mine. The quest has always been non-personal. That might sound strange today to hear such a thing, but I'm not playing with words. It looks that something which is very difficult to define and to give a name, something is looking for itself. And it looks for itself through, for us, through human body. Maybe it also looks for itself through plants, animals, minerals. Maybe. But regarding human being, it seems that something is looking for itself through our human being. And at first, I mean, most of us at the beginning, we think we have to acquire something that will make our personal life better. And at the beginning, it is the very first motto, the very first fuel. But the beginning can last very, very long. Very long. Beginning can last all our life, all our human life. So it is this desire for something other, we could call it the otherness, because it's very difficult to define it. And every name we gave, and we still give, brings conflict. So the nameless, it seems that the thing, the nameless, is kind of screw driving within us. And without any will of ourselves, one day it comes and it rarely goes away. And then the woman or the man or the boy or the girl we are, perceiving there is something to live which might be very different from what we know about the world, human relationships. It seems that we are bound to act. We think we have to act, to do something for this nameless to flourish. And of course, we don't know how to do. And sometimes we are lucky enough for meeting somebody who tickles our desire. Sometimes it happens through books. Sometimes it happens through a love story, where suddenly this desire that we feel seems to have a reality in the materialistic world. And I remember when meeting my guru, my instructor, what puzzled me was that I had the sensation that I had found my desire personified in somebody, which meant that exists. It is not a dream or just an idea. Then I get caught because I asked him, please, sir, can you help me to make this wish or this nameless I feel, can you help me to make it a constant reality. And I remember him telling me, "Are you serious? Do you really want to go into that?" I would say, "Yes, nothing attracts me. I'm not attracted by anything. And even not attracted, but also I feel to reject everything." So he said, "Okay, just stay there and be silent." So it was not an easy thing, an easy thing, because I wanted to have answers to questions, even some questions I didn't put. I wanted answer to questions I didn't put. I was really full of thirst. I was thirsty of the mystery of life. And this man was telling me, just sit quiet, don't say anything. So he gave me a room to stay in his house. And the room that was in India, it was in 76, 7, something, 5, maybe 8. I don't remember exactly. And the room was so dirty. And I thought, God, I can't stay there. And so I went to the market and I bought some paint with a brush. And I started repainting my room. Then he stepped in. "Oh," he said, "that's very good. That's really, really good. Maybe you could buy some more and repaint the whole ashram." It was a small ashram, only 25 rooms or something. But I felt desperate and said, "Well, but that's going to take all my days and maybe evenings and maybe part of the nights." And then he turned to me and said, "What about food? How are you going to eat here?" I was puzzled again, and I gave a wrong mistake. I said, "Well, I can go to the market, buy a stove, and I will cook." "Oh," he said, "this is a very good idea. So you paint the whole ashram, you cook for your meal, and we'll meet sometimes." I couldn't believe it. And I was young and I couldn't accept it. Until somebody came in, and there was a woman living there, and she said, what is this? You're going to cook your food? I cook every day for him. Why don't you have lunch and meals, dinner with us?" So she went to him, and he said, "Okay, you can have meals with us." And then she said, "Why did you ask him to paint the whole ashram? People are not coming for that in this place." So he said, "Okay, if he doesn't want to paint, no painting." And I was quite puzzled because I discovered that this man seemed to have no particular personal desire. And that was strange to me. And several times he asked me, he said, "Are you sure that you're here?" The word he was using at that time, he's still using it, he's still alive. "Are you sure you're really here for God?" So I say, "Yes." So many times he asked. And when I say yes, he always answers, he says, "Okay, then you can stay." From time to time, he used to say, "If it is for something else, you go out." And then I found a very good answer. I say, "For sure, I'm not here for painting and cooking." And that was the beginning of an extraordinary relationship, which has been lasting for the last 45 years or something, up to now. So I am not a good painter. And I'm not too bad cook today, but I'm not a good painter. That is, I do not change the color of our limitations, the walls. We all have inner limitations, psychological limitation, emotional limitation, social, physical, of course. And what I slowly discovered was that the sadhana is not about changing anything. Sadhana is about discovering a reality that we don't perceive strongly or clearly or deeply enough. And when we have to talk about this, it's always a big challenge, because how to describe something that words cannot define or explain? What is this inner quest about? What is it? And as I said from the right beginning, more and more it looks that the quest is not a decision from the thought or the body or the psyche, or the quest is a kind of search, research of this nameless, which is looking for its name. And in the human being that we are, it seems that the spiritual voyage is mainly about losing everything. I mean, many, many things on many different levels. Losing what we have as a citizen, as in the case of a man, father, son. Losing any kind of sensation that is restricting our position in life. When sometimes this situation appears, it is always coming a split second after a complete silence into the whole body-mind system. When we listen to the translations of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, who gave a definition of that state of unity, what we call yoga. It says that it appears when the translations are difficult, but when the mind is completely silent. So what seems to be a reality is when within a split second the mind is silenced. The mind is silent, sorry. We feel life is sacred, or we feel a quality of sacredness in life, as if the wholeness of life was completely sacred. And sacredness has nothing to do with all the organizations that have been built up by human thinking through centuries and, the thing that we call religions. Sacredness is not, we cannot describe it, because every word we could use for defining it will be a betrayer. That's why it's so difficult to talk about it. Now, the big question is, or has been, still is, how to quieten the mind, how to bring peace and silence into the mind. Is this possible? So whole yogas have said yes to this question, and each of them has kind of described different ways for being successful into this. But we easily notice that we meet, and we have met, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who have been deeply married, at least engaged to the yoga sadhana. And it doesn't work, or it didn't work. It worked very rarely. Sorry. And we had this question, is how we practicing wrongly? Do we live a wrong way as an individual and also as groups? What's going on? What is it that it doesn't work? So we know that some texts like Bhagavad Gita says that on, I don't remember, on 1,000 different people, there's only one who is really interested or attracted by this sacredness. And then among the people who are attracted, but among 1,000 of people who are attracted, only one is really motivated. And among 1,000 people who are motivated, only one will give his life for it. And among 1,000 people who give their life for it, maybe one will be successful. So it's not a big number. But this is the Bhagavad Gita point of view. I mean, this is a word from Krishna in the Gita. Do we have to believe it? It seems that for centuries, sadhaks, people engaged into yoga, they didn't have so many informations that we have today. You know, we are together right now. I don't know how many. Dileepji talked about 1,500 people. I don't know how many are listening.
Now it's more than 800 people are watching.
Okay, so we are right now 800 people from whole parts of the planet, of the world. And this is something absolutely new. Thanks to this virus, we are doing this. Without it, maybe we would have never done it. But imagine what it was even 3 years ago, but imagine what it was 100 years ago, even 50 years ago. 20 years ago, when somebody found an instructor, a teacher, a guru, it was like a miracle. It's so rare, so rare. So people would stay with that person and they wouldn't go roaming here around looking for other information from some other people. So the knowledge that we have regarding yoga is coming from much, much long time before. And today we have to actualize it into our contemporary world where we are. Are there some traditional yoga paths that are really working? Or do we have to kind of reform the teachings? Which for some people, it really sounds like a horror, that the teaching should not be changed at all. And for some other people, they say, well, it should be accurate to the way we perceive the life today and the way society is going, it is not yet gone. And so here we are. Is it possible in such a busy activity of maybe three quarter, maybe more, of mankind, of the planet, to perceive silence, silent mind? I have to say that I kind of found my way through a practice that had almost disappeared from the surface of the planet. It is called Nidrâ yoga. It is not the thing that has been called Yoga Nidrâ, which was dispelled about 70 or 80 years ago by a northern Indian Swami. It is not the same. There are some, of course, bridges in between. It is not that. So I kind of rediscovered something that has apparently almost disappeared. And I have to say that that's more than 2 years ago. I think it was February 2020, Dileepji, when we were together in Trichy. Yeah.
We were together in 2020 beginning.
And just by chance, I found a little booklet talking about Nidrâ yoga, which was from the 8th century, written in Kannada language. It was the first time I found something like that. But anyway, what do we mean by silent mind? Because we all have noticed that when our mind is busy, there are so many issues, psychological issues, emotional, physical, social, troubles with couples, with children, with education, with work. Everything is in trouble. Everything is in conflict within individuals. And we notice that there are also conflicts in between individuals, then in between countries, And in between political parties, in between religions, all this stupidity that has been going on since millennia. I call it a stupidity because it has never been helpful for bringing more happiness. Never. It's a big failure. And after so many centuries and millennia, strangely, the human mind hasn't understood what has to be stopped. Conflict. We're still after conflict because we always think that we're going to be a winner. And of course, when there is one winner, there are thousands of losers. And human mind is the same, it's working exactly the same way in each human being. There's no difference. We might think about different objects, or different ideals, different ideas, but the thinking process is the same. We might use our body for different activities, but the human body is the same. We might feel different types of emotion for different types of situations or people, but the emotional system is the same in everyone. So it's only the different objects that are different, but the subject, the me, that human being that I am, is operating in the same way for everyone. And it seems to have been the case since more than 300,000 years. We are today sure that when the Homo sapiens appeared, 300,000 years is the minimum. From that time, there's been no change in the human mind. No change at all, and very little change in the human body. Which means for 300,000 years, we have been repeating the same patterns again and again and again and again, looking for happiness, and we never found it. Instead of that, we have been stuck into conflict within ourselves, with others, with our wife and husband, with our children, with our teachers, with our bosses, with our governments. The whole mankind seems to be in love with conflict. And at the same time, when you ask any person, would you like to be happy? It's very, very rare that somebody answers is no. Most of us, we say yes. So, what is it? What is the trouble with this? What's going on? After questioning this reality for maybe, we don't know, centuries, a few understanding showed up. One of them was we are not virtuous enough. We don't care about virtues. And at the beginning, there was no virtues. Virtues. This question didn't exist, but through time, when the question was, how is it that things are not running well with human beings? One of the things that came out was what is called in Sanskrit yamas and niyamas. ways of behaving, ways of speaking, ways of thinking also. And it was discovered that certain ways of behaving, thinking, speaking were helping a lot in reducing the conflict. This is what was called yama and niyama. So in Patanjali Yoga, in the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, are given 10 little points. And in some other texts, there are 20, in some of those are 100. So how to live a life with dignity? How to live a daily life where we don't bring troubles, we don't bring conflict. It seems that after all those thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, it seems that the human mind is kind of polluted by wrong habits, which are always bringing conflict. And the difficulty is that many of us, we have tried to change the mind of somebody else, of our children, our wife, our parents, husbands. We failed. We've never been good in changing others' mind, other people's mind. So it looks that if there is a way, it's only an individual behavior, thinking, way of speaking that we can bring less conflict in. When we're doing this quest, Dileepji was, in his introduction, was saying that I learned and I teach Nidrâ yoga. So I've been doing this for more than 50 years now. Not teaching, but learning. More than 60 years. And 59 years. Anyway, there is something that looks very mysterious. It is that when living a life where there are more virtues, the movement of thinking slows down. There are less thoughts in number, and also the speed reduces. And this is quite simultaneously strange and extraordinary. Extraordinary because when the flow of thoughts reduces, we can see that in between two thoughts, there is a little space. I don't know if we have to say space or voidness or state of timelessness, but there is like little holes in between thoughts. And thoughts are organized and they are conditioned for millennia. Thoughts do not belong to individual. Thought belongs to the human mind. So when the flow of thinking reduces, slows down, in between two thoughts, two ideas, there is nothing, there is nothingness. A state of nothingness. Could say empty space, silent holes. There's nothing going on. It's very, 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 very quiet, very silent. Another discovery was that when there is this in between two thoughts, there is a question. The question is, what or who perceives this in between two thoughts? What is it that perceives this nothingness? The idea that we have of ourselves is built up by the content of memory. That is, we have gone through many, many experiences, and we have learned a lot, and we have stored informations, and we have an incredible amount of memory with which we face the world anytime there is a new situation. So the question was, is it this memory that is perceiving this in-between thoughts of silence, this empty space? And the answer was no, it is not the memory. Because the memory, anytime the memory contacts the situation, the memory comes in all the time. What in Sanskrit called vasanas and sanskaras. So the question was still there, what is it that perceives emptiness or silence? So of course it is the thought that puts such questions. And if the thought finds an answer, this answer is coming from the past, from the memory itself. So by rejecting each and every answer, which was for sure coming from the past, by rejecting any answer, the thing that was perceiving this empty space or silent holes itself couldn't be defined. And then the last discovery, which was such a strange thing, was that the thing that perceives the silent holes or the empty spaces in between thoughts. So the nature of that thing that perceives is exactly the same as the nature of this empty space or silent holes. That is, the watching itself is a state of voidness, state of emptiness, state of silence. And it is as if these two types of silence, which are of the same nature, suddenly kind of unite themselves like a wedding. And when this happens, there is an extraordinary feeling of love coming out of it. Not love for something, but endless state of love. Endless, I mean, where there is no bottom. There is no, we cannot see the source of it. And from that feeling, everything that is perceived is holy, is sacred. Suddenly, every tiny element of life is sacredness. It is not sacred, it is sacredness itself. And we are, that the foundation of life itself is sacredness. And silent mind can take us towards this voyage. The voyage for me was called Nidrâ. It is an organized system until it opens up to a complete freedom where the system has no importance at all. Yoga has two interpretations. One is the name of that state, and the second is the name of the way for coming closer to that state. But when we use it like that, we had another word with it, like Hatha Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Nidra Yoga, whatever. It seems that each and every exercise which belongs to this huge yoga corpus, it seems that every exercise has like a seed of that state. And the yogi, the practitioner, we call it here, is the gardener. Who has this possibility to bring this seed to flourish. It's just a possibility, there is no guarantee. So Nidra Yoga is about this, but all yogas are. We still have, according to the timing, Dileepji decided about 20 minutes together. And I hand here for myself. As listeners, you're very welcome for dialoguing together. So the line is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, André, for your wisdom. I'm going to open floor for everyone to ask questions or comments. Let us see. Gabriel.
Namaste. Beautiful.
Forget it. I need to say something. Valérie and Anna, Valérie Glaise and Anna Tumbra, Could you put your camera on? It's so pleasant for me to see people instead of names. Ah, thank you.
Valerie.
Valerie is a BAUL student. Can you imagine that? A French BAUL student.
You can unmute yourself. Just mention where you're from, what do you do. Just introduce yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, André. So my name as a BAUL student is Yamuna, and I am learning from Parvatiji, Parvatima, Parvati BAUL from West Bengal.
What about Anna?
Anna is from Sweden. She lives in France. And we have to talk on the phone, huh? I receive your message.
So Natalie Perret,
Ali is from Canada.
Canada.
And also we have Catherine. Catherine is taking mantra classes online. We had mantra this morning. Anyway, I stopped speaking.
Does anybody have any question? Catherine Roselle.
Sorry, I don't speak very well English. I understand, but I don't speak. I'm sorry.
French or Catherine? Do you speak French?
Oui.
Okay. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
So that's good. Okay, then I'll ask a couple of questions to André. I know you have a nature of being in a yogic path. You stay away from unnecessary drama in yogic field. That I know. So, what is the best moment you had within this last 50 years? I know 1972 you started your journey as official journey, and that is like a 50 years of journey. That's a half century, long way. The best moment during your path, you may have met a lot of yogis, or even you have your own experience. Doesn't matter.
You're very curious, huh? These are very intimate questions. There are many of them. So you have to choose which one you like.
Whatever you remember, just say, because in the program they like to hear personal experience. They know what is yoga and all the philosophy they can read anywhere. But the life, especially those who are coming from western part of the world, the eastern is different. They have their culture, but you are from another culture coming to the yoga field and implementing yoga as your path. People like to hear that part, that will help a lot of young people, those who are new to yoga. That's why I asked that question.
Yeah, I don't feel anymore from any culture, but I feel I have been cultivated by others. So I remember something which is so. I suppose this something has through time made a big difference and made a special path by itself. It was in Europe. I was on the little square in the middle of a city, and it was a pedestrian area. There were no cars, And so many shops and many people in shops, and as it is. And at that time, I was living very poorly. I had almost no money at all. I had just stopped begging at that time. I had little income. But I really felt complete foreigner from the society. And it was in the West, it was in France. And I was born in France. But I felt totally like an alien. So I remember on this little square in the middle of the city, there was a little fountain. And so I sat around the fountain. There was like a bench, and I was looking at life going on. And then, after some time, something took over. And I suddenly felt being the bench I was sitting on. And the experience spread. I became the fountain. And it spread again, and I became the whole square. And then I became each and every person who was going around, walking or going to the shops. Then I became the all around was a round square. I became all the shops. And it was spreading a little more, not very far from this round square. And suddenly, so it was as if being the whole thing. And suddenly, the mother banged his child on the cheek because, I don't know, maybe he or she, I don't remember, wanted some sweets or was asking for something, and the mother was nervous. And I received that shock. It was so strong. And I went off that state. And it was over. I guess this experience through time deeply and very slowly transform a part of the consciousness, subconscious, unconscious, I don't know how to say. It was something very strong. Being one in a limited space and in a limited time, but being one with everything that was going on and everyone, concrete cement, windows on the walls of the shops, the people. And then there was this big shock. That is a conflict. Two people do not agree, and one of them is fighting against the other. In that case, it was a mother with a child. Suppose it was the mother. And that was a kind of realization of both the taste of unity and the horror of conflict. So behind our limitations, there's only unity. But when we are stuck in limitations, there's always conflict. There's always duality, like this mother and this child. That was a very strong moment in my life.
So I believe you born in a Catholic family. Is that correct?
Oh, they didn't care. You know, Catholicism is just a conditioning.
So when you being part of the yoga movement and how your family members took it, do they give any hard time to you?
No, never. In fact, they never knew. I was clever. I never talked about it. And when they saw me leaving for India, walking all the way, and they were desperate, of course. They were very simple people. They were ordinary workers. And they understood much later. They understood in such a way that my mother became my student. And I started explaining the Bible to my father, who was a social fighter. But that was when they were very old. Oh, they very much. They never. They always say, if you find the way, you have to go. But of course, they were very much worried.
Mm.
Imagine, Dileep, 100 years ago in a traditional Indian family, a child that would say, I want to be a mechanic engineer. That would have been a drama, family drama. And here is just the other way. But it is the same mind processes.
Yeah, we met in 2006, I think, at the European Yoga Festival. That was in Bucharest.
Bucharest, yes.
That was a quite amazing event. We had 1 week in Bucharest. I remember there's a challenging situation with all the yoga teachers having a hard time with the government and all that stuff.
Yeah. I remember that. And you know, by chance, I've been invited again to teach in Romania for the last 8 years or something. So I'm going back to Romania. Of course, for the last 2 years, everything went online. And yoga teachers still have difficult time in Romania.
So it's like in New York, around 400 yoga schools closed. Now slowly opening, but still the crisis is still there. COVID situation is not down that much, but death rate is very low. That's the best part. So let's see how it will work out. We are thinking to have a global celebration next year in New York. That will be our 30th World Yoga Festival. So we want this is 29th. That's why we made the resolution with the help of our Assemblyman, Honorable Nidrâ Sage, and 9 other Assembly members sponsor our resolution at the New York State Assembly. And one of my friend, originally is from Kerala, he became a senator in New York State, and he also sponsored this resolution.
Did you already fix the date?
It was already done. In May 17, it adopted to the state. The governor is signing the proclamation for us.
No. I mean for next year. Did you fix the date?
Date is same, June 1st to 30. And the New York City even most probably closer to June 21st. But we're supposed to have an event at the UN. People come, they can attend the UN event and the Times Square event, all together is better if they come for 2-3 days, so they can attend different programs.
Acha, so you have to keep a few beds for most of our friends to come to your place.
Figure out because here is so expensive, so you had to find some volunteers to provide some space for our yogis. We don't need that much space. We need only space for a yoga mat and sleep. Like I do my sleep on my yoga mat. So let us see how it will work. And Gopalji and all want to come here. Let's see how it will work out. Then I see you heard about the yoga sports, that is developing now. Government of India already recognized yoga sports as part of the sports department and the Ayush department, yoga therapy. They're multiplying different aspects of yoga in different department, promoting and implementing yoga in schools and colleges all over India now.
Well, you know my feeling about this. Huh?
Yeah.
I've told many times to Gopalji, stop this. But he is a hard mind.
Right. So already movement is going on. It won't go stop.
I know.
Go follow it. Because for some people, they like yoga sports. They want to be active people. Some people they stuck with the exercise. They cannot go beyond the exercise. Some people only stick with the breathing and relaxation. Some people only go with the meditation. So according to Swami Shivananda, we promote all aspects of yoga. Whatever people can do, great. But only thing is you have to keep the yama and name, otherwise it's a problem.
So I have a much more beautiful news to tell you.
Yeah, tell me.
It is that within the European Yoga Union, we are opening a new department,
Wonderful.
which is called spiritual yoga.
Perfect. I'm so happy. I remember when we bring spirituality to the UN, a lot of time we get opposition.
Ah.
Now it's slowly building up. So you see so many leaders, NGO leaders, and officials come from the UN to be part of our yoga festival, and we are the only yoga NGO got the accreditation with the UN Department of Global Communication, the Economic and Social Council. So we have an umbrella of a lot of yoga schools and teachers in our circle. So we made it open. So when you come here next year, definitely we'll visit the UN and see what are the things going on. And you get some idea in the headquarters how we move things. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I already did this in Switzerland at the United Nations in Geneva.
Yeah, New York is different. It's totally different.
It wasn't ripe at that time.
Yeah, now yoga is a big thing at the UN.
So we are very far from the topic of today. Now we're talking about politics.
No, topic is open forum. So we are featuring you and your topic, and people can open up, ask questions and comments. So I'll ask other people to ask a question or comments in English or French or Spanish.
Yeah, do your job. Do your job.
Any comments or any questions? Can speak in English, French, or Spanish.
This is one of the troubles, Dileepji. When talking about silence, nobody has anything to say.
Oh, that's good. You'll sit in silence forever. I can sit, no problem. I remember when I was living in cave, like 1 year in silence, not talk at all. Sit in silence.
Okay, then maybe we can end this meeting.
Okay. Gabriel, put a budget.
Gabriel, are you also in New York right now?
Yeah,
I am, yes.
in our organization, yes.
And Bihari, where are you?
Reverend Bihari is in another state.
Uh-huh.
Gabriel is going to sing a bhajan. Yes, Gabriel, proceed.
I'm in Ohio on the Lake Erie.
Ohio, huh?
And the communication is not good, huh? Connection.
Yeah, it is difficult there. Yes, Gabriel.
Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Govinda Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Gopala Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Govinda Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Gopala Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Govinda Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Gopala Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Govinda Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Gopala Hare. Jai Jai Govinda Hare. 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 Jai Jai Gopala Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Govinda Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Gopala Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Govinda Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Gopala Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Govinda Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Gopala Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Govinda Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Gopala Hare. Jai Jai Govinda Hare. 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 Jai Jai Gopala Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Govinda Hare. Narayana Narayana Jai Jai Gopala Hare.
Wonderful. I see our grandmother Patricia Ann Davis from the indigenous group, a Native American elder. Grandmother, I saw your comment on the Facebook. If you like to share your thoughts, that'll be wonderful.
I was listening from the very beginning, and we say Native American or we say American Indian, but we call ourselves holy people or children of the holy people. And I wanted to just briefly describe that I met a American woman who was a seer and a visionary. And 1977, I met her and she taught me what she called Agni Yoga. So I was studying metaphysics at the same time that I was studying psychology in the University of Arizona. And the technique, she told us to put our feet flat on the floor and sit straight with our spine and put our hand interlocking like so over our solar plexus. And then we began to breathe in the nose and out the mouth and count. And she said, when we in breath is 1 and out breath is 2. And she said, if you do this on a daily basis, then you will experience the voice of the silence and the monkey mind will be quiet. And then you will hear the silence. So I made 3 vows at that time, which is to daily meditate. It's an esoteric meditation, and then to study all the I don't want to say religions, but the metaphysical teaching of spirituality, and which of course comes from India, and it's Sanskrit. And I found that it's congruent with the Navajo language, spiritual ceremonial language. Like Antakarana, we have the word Natsilit. Then we have like Deva, we have Diyan. And so there's a place of unifying principles. And the 3 vows were then to study, daily meditation study, and then to serve in the world. And of course, she said that would be the most challenging, is to serve in the world. And that was like 45 years ago. I'm so fortunate to have met this person who studied her life, but she also was a very, very blessed, unique person that I met in my life, and wanted to make sure that as, quote, American Indian or Native American, that I went through 45 years to this day of this practice, all while simultaneously understanding and spirit and experiencing my own language and culture, spirituality. So it's congruent. And that's why, even though I was listening, I wanted to get on before you ended. I heard Guruji say that he would help the other people, that spirituality is a unifying principle. It's this oneness, and we call that hojo, this oneness that we're experiencing and living. And so just that part there, I came on to say that for supporting all the people who would tremendously benefit. And yes, the most challenging is to serve in the world. She taught me many more things, but I did read, and I can't even pronounce some of the things that I read, but Arjuna's Journey and these great books. I spent all these years looking for the I have them by my bedside. I have them in my library. I want you to know that too, Guruji. I don't think you ever heard me describe very briefly this experience. Thank you.
Thank you, grandmother, for joining. So those who are watching online, make sure you are welcome to join anytime when you have any valuable comments or questions. So usually we keep it maximum 100 people for bigger events, but talk we keep it less people because we don't want people to disturb the class or workshop or presentation. And this Sunday we have a yoga cruise. We are going to have a yoga in a cruise with the vegetarian food, and a lot of fun is coming up. That is from 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. in New York City. Indian Consulate is co-sponsored this event, and we have so many NGOs and community leaders are going to join with some bhajans and all that stuff. And of course, Yogasana sports, we are having the Yogasana competition online. Around 20 countries are going to join. And 24th, our congresswoman in New York, from New York City, is going to speak in our event. First time she is going to speak in online program. She came to International Day for Yoga celebration a few times. And 21st, we'll have yoga celebration at the Times Square. 12,000 people are going to join for all day. And 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. we'll have a celebration at the Church Center for the United Nations. That's across the UN building. Assemblyman who made this resolution at the New York State is going to speak, and some other leaders are going to join. We have yoga session, we have bhajans, award ceremony, and all the stuff. And 30th we'll have final gala celebration. So same link, you can use it. I'll update every day. So sometimes you use the link from 2 days before, it may not work. So those who are on Facebook, go to my post. The latest post will show the link. Just use that link. Those who are speakers, you'll get the Zoom ID and the passcode to protect our program. Few times we had hackers entering in our program, messing up. We have so many diplomatic people are in the program, so we don't want to happen that again. That's why we made the restriction. Yes, grandmother, we want to ask something.
Well, one more thing. I wanted to thank Gabriel for his beautiful chanting. I am so honored and blessed to know Guruji over a number of years, and I've been in New York and participated in many sadhanas in his place that is a place for a gathering of people. So grateful. Thank you so much.
It's our honor to be part of your family, grandmother, because those who are in the meeting or those who are watching, we want to mention your mother, grandmother Patricia and Davis is our NGO representative to the United Nations for all indigenous issues to handle it. Because we know those community are suffering around the globe for years and years. A lot of time politicians, they just look their own benefit. They never care about our indigenous people. Most of the real knowledge is coming from the indigenous people. Even Hinduism came from indigenous community. So we want to make sure they are getting real support from us, and not financially. For other ways we can connect people. Only politicians can do the financial part. No. Let us see how it will work out. So seems like there's no more questions. The last chance. Any more questions? Okay. Then in that case, we will wind up the.
No more questions. Hari Om, Hari Om.
See you all tomorrow. Thank you. Same time.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, André. It was beautiful.